Okay, I'm going to do a very quick lesson on really simple ways to take you sounding not bluesy and soulful to sounding really stylish and soulful, all in the space of probably just over 5 minutes. So we're going to talk about 3 players, okay, Jimi Hendrix, Albert King and BB King, and we're going to take 2 concepts from each of those players that you can instantly add to your playing and play all over the neck and experiment with in all sorts of different ways, and instantly take your playing into that kind of bluesy, kind of soulful, stylish sound. So we're going to start off with BB King. The first concept I want to talk about is the major and minor pentatonic box that BB's famous for using. We're going to do this, I think, probably in the key of A, and we're going to start on the 10th fret and bend up from the 10th fret. We're going to pick the 12th fret and bend it up a whole tone, okay? Alright, so this is in the key of A. Right, now that sound comes from the major pentatonic scale, okay, which sounds great over your 1 chord. Now when you go to a 4 chord in a blues, generally you don't really tend to play major pentatonic over the 4 chord. You tend to play more of a minor tonality because it just fits with the chord that you're playing better. So for that, we just play the 10th fret again and bend up from the 13th fret a whole tone this time. So the first time we had okay, so it's just 1 note different each time, but you get a lot of contrast in terms of the tonality from just changing that 1 note. And this concept can be applied all over the neck. So you have it here. You could have it down here. And a whole load of other selection of notes. But just you can find out where it works for you. BB King does like to hover around this kind of position, but there's other positions that he uses and there's other positions that you can play this kind of thing in. It's just experimenting with it basically. Okay, so very quick second BB King concept is literally just 1 note, okay, which may seem like, well, what's the point in teaching me that? Well, this is what BB is a master of. Although he's not a flashy player or a fast technical sounding player, he's very good with his use of dynamics and his use of phrasing. So say we're in the key of A again and we're doing our major minor kind of sounding pentatonic BB King lick, so like okay, so you get the idea. So you're just picking that note, by the way, was the 17th fret on the E string, and you just pick it and slide down. Just be careful just to mute the rest of the strings with your hand, because you don't want any unwanted string noise. So that's 2 BB King concepts. Now I want to get on to Albert King. Albert King is kind of very similar to BB King in the aspect of he has a few ideas that he plays all of the time, but you really associate those ideas with them, and they're very recognisable. And like I said at the start of the lesson, it's just simple little concepts that you can add to your playing that take you from this to this in terms of how you sound. So we're going to do this actually in a different key. We're going to do this in the key of B. Okay, now we're going to start off with those kind of heart-wrenching Albert King style bends. So we're going to bend from the 12th fret a whole tone on the E string up to the F sharp, and as we bend up we're going to actually grab the B string at the same time. So we're going to go, okay? Now it may not sound that difficult, but at first, believe me, this is quite tricky to get because you're having to actually bend two strings at the same time and control them. Okay, so the art of it really is to bend the E string up first, catch the B, play both of them at the same time, and you're actually pivoting between the 12th and the 11th fret. Okay, so you're actually going. Okay, so if you're aware of Stevie Ray Vaughan, he is a huge Albert King fan, and this is something that he would have used a hell of a lot, but it actually started with Albert King. So yeah, as I said before, you actually bend the string up, catch the other string, and maybe finish off the lick with like a kind of sliding kind of figure. Okay, and that leads us on nicely to the second Albert King concept that I want to talk about, which is literally playing the same note 3 times. Okay, and it's something that Albert King just tends to put on the end of a lot of his phrases. So I'll just play the first lick through again, and I'll end it on the second Albert King concept. Okay, so that was literally it. Which I was picking the 9th fret of the A string 3 times, and it just, and it may seem really simple, kind of pointless to learn, a little bit like the B.B. King idea, but it's these very simple concepts that make these players actually sound good and why people like the sound of their guitar playing. So you can kind of add it to at the end of any kind of phrase. You can kind of go. Okay, so you can just kind of. Okay, so really simple, really quick, easy way to kind of get a few Albert King and B.B. King ideas going. Now I'm very going to the last player I want to quickly talk about is Jimi Hendrix. Now there's 2 concepts. One, the string grabbing concept that I think Jimmy probably got from Albert King, but it's used on the B string and it's catching the G string, and it sounds like this in the key of B. Okay, you may, if you're a fan of Jimi Hendrix, if you've heard Jimi Hendrix play, you've probably heard him play a phrase like that. Okay, now what you're doing there, I'm bending up from the 10th fret up to the 12th, and when I'm up to the 12th, I catch the G string, which is actually on the 10th fret, which is the flat 5 if we're playing the minor pentatonic, okay? But it doesn't really sound dissonant in a kind of flat 5 way because we're just kind of passing straight through it. And then that end note I'm finishing on the 7th fret of the G. And you can also play this idea on the E string. Okay, which leads us nicely onto the second Hendrix concept I want to talk about, is these kind of like little pull-off ideas that he adds at the end of each of his phrases, which you may have also heard Stevie Ray Vaughan do quite a lot, is he's kind of a bit of an amalgamation of Albert King and Jimi Hendrix. So say we started off with the first lick. They're these kind of little pull-offs, so you're actually pulling off. So I play the 7th, I pick the 7th fret, and then pull off on the 9th to the 7th fret on the D and the A string. Slide down to the 5th fret in a quarter tone bend to the root on the B. So we have, and you can apply this concept to all the strings. Start from the B string, which is picking the 7th fret and then picking the 9th fret on the, 7th fret on the B, then okay, so there's just kind of like little pull-offs, and it does take a while to kind of get that finger strength happening, and it didn't. I wasn't quite getting it to sound great in the concept of that idea, but if you work on those little pull-off ideas and get the strength under your fingers to play them, they do sound really good. So they're 3 players for me that sound great if you add a little bit of something to your own playing. So I hope that's helped you out a little bit, giving you maybe some old but fresh ideas at the same time, and I'll see you next time.